welcome back to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. I'm Zach Joyner, your friendly neighborhood host, and of course, the Grand Poobah of the Spideydude Radio Network. I want to give a quick shout out to our patron, Venkman. He is one of our VIPs, Spideydude VIPs, here on our patreon.com/Spideydude Network. So if you want to check us out, help the site, you can definitely go on there and help us out. Of course, this episode, we're going to be covering the post-mortem of Last Remains. And I, of course, will be joined very shortly by my cohorts. Again, if you want to check us out, you can always follow us on our various social medias. Check out our other shows on the Spidey Network, like Spectacular Radio. Just had the big one. The final curtain interview came out on Monday. If you haven't listened to that one, I highly encourage you to do so, especially if you're a part of #SaveSpectacularSpider-Man. And of course, you can always go to listen to ASM Classics. Came out today. We got another episode coming out tomorrow. And this Friday, that's right, this Friday, we are going to be live doing Make Mine Mayday. So we got a whole week's worth of shows available to you right now. If you're watching us live here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, thank you. And we'll, for our audio listeners, we want to let you know that there may be some references to visual aids and or comments. We apologize, but we highly encourage you to check us out, especially on YouTube. We're at 63 subscribers right now. We're trying to get to 100 and more. So thank you for listening, and let's get the show started. First up, we've got Neil with his exaggerated swagger.
Yes, hi, it's me, Bogenrieder Variety Hour, man.
So,
yeah.
Next up, be sure to listen to the first episode of Bogenrieder Variety Hour was last Friday. So we'll have that on the schedule as well. So next up, we got Adam.
Hello.
In Joker Man font.
Yes, that's another in joke kind of thing. It's nothing. It's nothing bad. Baby. It's nothing bad. It's not quite related to that, but if you know, you know, and it's too complicated to explain.
It's magic. We don't have to explain it. Anyway, yes. Paul P. Thug is also up. Look at what he's got in his hand. Ooh, that's so pretty.
I have a little mini story to tell you all. Yeah. So I've been recently getting into more collected editions and stuff like that. I was for years of being digital only, and sure. So anyway, I have like the Birth of Venom trade paperback, which is one of my favorite trade paperbacks, actually. I think that is one of the best trades you can get. That is a great complete story of the Alien saga. But anyway, I just was kind of perusing a comic store with my family the other day. And I saw this when I was looking for Star Wars epics. Yes, Star Wars epics. I'm really into those right now. Mm-hmm. And I saw this and went, oh, this is really cool. And I'm like, it's kind of a hefty price, you know?
Right.
And I was like, I'll buy it later. Well, I left the comic shop, just kind of whatever. And I looked online, and this thing is like out of print and it goes for like $100. I was like, oh shit. So I had to run. I had to run. And
that's staying.
Yeah. So,
I'm joking.
Am I not supposed to curse?
No, we're done.
We don't care anymore.
We're trying to avoid it.
Well, you should have told me. I didn't know. So I was like, holy crap. Wink, wink, if you know what the other word is. Yeah, I had to go back the next day and pick this up immediately. And it actually is just awesome. I cannot wait to get into this. I'm doing a big read of all the Amazing Spider-Man comics right now. I'm up into like 1976 right now. With
Shix.
So yeah, but
Sean Connery / Sweetwood Trainer's back.
Yeah, so when I eventually get to like this era, like I'll be jonesing on this one. I just ordered the second volume, which is easier to find. But yeah, I found this was a hard get, and I had to go back and get it. I went to literally the next morning as soon as it opened to get it. It's like I have to get this. So
listen, it's a fantastic story. If you, I think I've sent this to you guys. But there's from, I think it was from the Spider-Man 3 DVD.
Oh yeah, I remember you sent that. Yeah,
where it's our pal Ron Friends talking about like the behind the scenes of that story, and how everything was so chaotic. And there was one thing from last week. If you haven't watched last week's episode, we talked about what we got for Christmas. There was one thing I forgot to mention that I got from my my husband-in-law, aka my ex-wife's husband and my ex-wife for Christmas, which was
that's cool.
They're really cool.
They're cufflinks. They're Spidey cufflinks. So
fresh.
That's pretty nice of them. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty dripping.
So, just to catch up on our comments, we got Greg says he's sorry I couldn't be on tonight, so I'll just say my grade for both issues is a solid A. And Venkman, hello. Venkman, our Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Check that out. I have both volumes. He says he has both volumes of that alien costume trade, as well as the original 1988 and 1992 trades of the saga of the alien.
Yeah,
I have a pink one.
I picked up that one with the Friends cover with the shadow in the back, and it's one of the first printings of it, and it was like $10 cover price. So I was like, okay, and my shop sold it to me for that, and it was in great condition. So I was like, I'm buying this.
Oh man, I that's how I picked up the original Phoenix Saga trade from the 80s.
Dang,
it was like $15. I was like, he gave it to me for cover price. I was like, really?
Well,
then he sits there and he has all of A-Next, like the original issues of A-Next for like $70 because the one issue where you get the first appearance of Hope Van Dyne has skyrocketed in price, and so
because of movie,
because
it's always because of a movie, unfortunately.
Because the thing is, some of those older trades are kind of hard to find and are kind of collectible, so they do gouge the price up a little bit. Like I've seen the original. There's like an original at my shop. There's an original Spider-Man versus Venom trade from like the early '90s, and that's like. They have those bagged and boarded, and they're like, it was probably like $10 or something, but they're selling it for like 25 or 30 or something.
I don't get the markup of trades. I get that they're out of print, but it's like they're not. I just don't see the.
There's. I mean, comics. That's what I kind of don't like speculation with the hobby anymore. Like that's why I really try to buy. If I buy like old issues, I try to find them for cheap.
For reasonable. Like I remember like about 10 years ago when I was been collecting for a long time, and I was going to like half price books and buying tons of comics and things like that. I could get trades and get all kinds of stuff for super cheap, and it was great. And it was a great for but at the same time, speculation market helps drive and keeps the comic book market alive. To be honest, I mean
that's how the shops survive, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Really like the old school ones. That's
also
kind of
their. Also, they sell Magic the Gathering cards. So
yeah, my shop. I don't think they've delved into that yet, but they're going strong. So.
Just tell them to start selling Magic the Gathering cards. That'll keep them for the next 3 years at least.
Not a bad idea.
So I'm gonna say this. Like that's how my shop's been staying alive, is because of Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. It's been card gaming has been really, because like the guy when I go do back issues. That was the original shop that I used to go to. We have a shop here locally now, and that's where I get my new books, like the two books that we're covering tonight, 57, aka 858 and 850
floppies.
857 and 858.
Love floppies.
So
real quick, I want to point out that Matt in the chat says once you go trade, you never go back. That's partially true. The only books I buy in floppy format anymore are Marvel books, and that's because they come with a digital code that I can put on my iPad.
Yeah.
So, but I'm buying all my other books in trade format.
I just like trades. I don't know. They're just so satisfying.
Also, Marvel's trades are really low quality. Like they have the really bad spines and they have like the really thin paper, so that makes it reading really hard.
So one day, Zach, I know we're gonna move on. I just want to tell you, but one day this will be a great conversation for a different show on your network. Just saying, because this is. I could go for hours.
Here's the thing. There's going to
come on my show.
As of this episode, we'll be caught up with the everything going on.
Exciting.
So we're gonna be doing these shows the day of the new releases, which starting next week. So we are gonna be like amongst the first in the podcasting community to be talking about these particular books. So we'll be first. But we want to kind of cover a news topic that
I'm gonna bow out then. See you guys later. I'm taking Neil's approach.
Yeah, so
let's take a nap. Wake me up when we're ready.
All right.
I'm gonna get a Diet Coke. See you guys later.
Yeah. So Disney Parks blog released a new statement. So this has been something that's been a long time coming. For those that have been really eagerly anticipating the Avengers campus in Disneyland, we get the first look with Tom Holland. He was behind a green screen and talking about it. So here is Tom Holland from Disney Parks.
There he is. Movie footage.
Just so you know, you can't hear anything.
Do what?
You can't hear anything. At least I can't.
Yeah, I can't hear it. At least the subtitles are on.
Here, do you want me to? Here, Zach, I'll just narrate it for you.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
hey guys, this is Tom Holland. You're watching Disney Channel.
That would be amazing if they did that.
If you're listening, the audio version, because I'm recording this on my soundboard, you're hearing this. For some reason, you guys aren't hearing it, which is weird.
Okay.
Everything else was working just fine.
Here, just go back and I'll just narrate it for.
So basically, Tom Holland
subtitles.
So those that are watching it live on YouTube, you couldn't hear it, but it's about a minute long. Basically, in the early days of during the Avengers filming, he was going to the Disney parks and doing green screen stuff for the web tech team, which is worldwide. It's the web workshop where you basically build your web shooter, and you're taking a part of one of the rides inside the big ride inside of Avengers Campus in Disneyland is Spider-Man.
Once everyone's Spider-Man, no one will be.
Yeah. So
yep. Can't wait for that.
There's spider bots. There's Web Slingers is a Spider-Man adventure, which I think is actually
there's spider bots. There's Avengers food. I mean,
yeah, you'll virtually pass through several of the campus addresses, including Pym Test Kitchen, Avengers headquarters, and Collector's Fortress. Also home to Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout as the mission moves. Spider bots will become harder and harder to beat as
are we moved on yet?
So
no, not yet.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Well, my bad.
y'all are awful. All right, so let's Spider-Man Adventures is just one of many addresses found inside Avengers Campus, an entirely new land dedicated to discovering, recruiting, and training the next gen of heroes at Disney California Adventure Park. As soon as the governor of California lifts all these ridiculous lockdowns. So,
okay, Zach.
Don't get political, Zach.
I'm not getting political. I'm just saying that the lockdowns, lockdowns
There are like 3 new strains out. They're even more contagious than the original one.
I understand. So, nevertheless, it's irrelevant until Disneyland opens back up.
Sure, yeah.
Which is the running joke. Like me and my fiance were like that's basically the reason that Disneyland hasn't opened back up, because they're not finished with this. Which is a distinct possibility.
When does this take? This is canon, right?
No.
Okay, so. Yeah, I remember. No,
there was unironically they said it was canon at one point, didn't they?
Yeah, it supposedly takes place somewhere in continuity. I know when they originally announced it does, but I think things have progressed significantly since then. We're gonna do a big kind of. I'm sure next week we'll talk more about the new suit that's coming out in the comics, and probably maybe we'll have some more casting rumors. I know that they are filming right now.
Yep.
The only thing that I've seen in the set photos that I've seen is that there is a little bit more classic looking aspects to the suit.
Very
like
slightly.
The black piping, and especially in the belt area, is gone away, which I'm a fan of.
They basically redid the belt.
Yeah,
that's kind of it. Actually, that's kind of all they did on the suit was they redid the belt.
I'm trying to stay away from spoilers, so please refrain from spoiling anything on set photos, please.
Okay, that's all. That's
I mean,
all.
It's just basically his costume changes very slightly,
like they do with every other MCU film.
I know. I'm joking, but kind of not joking because I do want to say here.
I want to be honest. Captain America has had the best suits consistently.
Sure, yeah,
dude. Really quick,
the Iron Man armors are cool.
The Avengers Avengers suit is so underrated. I hate you all who hate that.
The 2012 one or the
I don't like the first one.
I don't like the mask, but I like the rest of the suit.
The rest of the costume is good. It's just the mask looks really plasticky.
Yeah, if they gave him just a helmet for that, but also I don't like honestly what I don't like about that suit is they put all that blue on the arms. The white is like a segment on the arms. I don't really like that.
The problem is the moment he put on that helmet, I thought it was going to the core where they filmed the Power Rangers fight scenes.
Dude, I love that suit so much, man.
So for the record, I in 2011 when I went to San Diego, I saw the suit. Literally in like at San Diego Comic-Con. So I have a certain affinity for that suit because I was like I got like close to where I could touch the actual like container that was in from the film.
It's literally the suit from the comic on the screen. It's like the most straight up adaptation like you can get.
I think that the first Avengers one, not the mascot one, but the one that he actually uses later on, and then he uses it again in Winter Soldier. I like that one better.
I like the other ones. I like the Age of Ultron suit quite a bit.
Cap really hasn't had a bad costume. I'm just saying my personal favorite is the Avengers one, just because it's literally from the comics. Like if you want to do a straight from the comic adaptation to without being the mascot version, it's like that's I
actually think the Endgame one was fairly faithful with like the scales.
Yeah, I love the Endgame one.
It's sweet. I mean, Cap is just amazing. I love Cap.
Cap is lucky because he hasn't had a single bad redesign.
If we want to be really like technical and nitpicky, like the thing is like they give him the blue arms, and that's like the one thing that kind of makes it not quite as comic accurate.
Captain America. This is now Captain America.
This is not Captain America Variety Hour. That's
my show.
is there getting back to our comments real quick. Let's see. Comments.
Holy all right, shit, Greg.
you better wear those cufflinks to the wedding, Zach. That's the plan. Once you go trade, you never go back, Matt.
I actually want to get the Immortal Hulk hardcovers. I've heard they're wonderful.
Hardcovers are good too, honestly. Like
no, look, there's the Guardians. They have the Guardians of the Galaxy omnibus.
The
all the 70 stuff.
Engelhart.
All the 70 stuff for $20 at Ollie's down the street, and I'm like,
an amazing deal.
I was like, that's a pretty damn good deal.
Yeah.
So Vinkman has said, I mentioned this in other live streams, but I'm finally decided I'm going to convert the rest of my comic book collection from single issues to trades. However, he is keeping his Spider-Man books, though. Someone photoshopped Bernie Sanders sitting on the empty Spidey exhibit at Disneyland with a coat.
That really blew up, didn't it?
To be fair, it's two memes rolled into one. It's his costume. It's his trench coat from the I'm once again asking you meme.
Yeah.
And then it's very wholesome because someone apparently gave him those mittens on the campaign trail for his 2020 primary campaign.
Oh, that is nice. Yeah.
So again, I've really not been on the internet much today. So there was a picture of Bernie with the stuff wearing that or whatever.
Let me find you a picture real quick, Zach.
Okay, all right. My favorite live action Cap suit is the one from the infamous 1990 movie. Look.
Oh, is he gonna? You know what? In Falcon Winter Soldier, if they don't have like Falcon and Bucky like pretending to be sick so they can steal someone's car, I'm boycotting the movie.
There's like.
You mean the Disney Plus series, which I have not seen anything of WandaVision, so
it's pretty good
for Friday.
I like it a lot, actually.
So me and Sarah, we're gonna binge it, but then we've got I've got to make my Mayday on Friday, so it'll probably be Sunday before I actually watch it. So I'm gonna try to watch it before before football, before I watch the championship
Sunday.
It is Championship Sunday. So all right.
Now
let's move on to the issues because we've spent 20 minutes and half of it was Captain America talk.
Whatever. Half of it was about stupid Disneyland rides. Don't even try to
listen. You're the one who started this, Zach. You started this fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I just say about the ride? Like, I do appreciate that they're kind of like Disney's really trying to, keep all this stuff connected. I kind of appreciate that.
I don't care. It's a theme park.
I know, but I do appreciate. Oh, okay, they got Tom Holland for it. Sure. I mean, yeah, it's like big deal.
He could have phoned it in and did a voiceover, but no, they actually got him doing stuff on the green
screen. And I'm saying too, like, because even now the Disney Plus shows are actually part of the MCU, so it's like, okay, cool.
That was always the plan for that, though.
I know. No, I know that.
Basically, what Adam is saying is that he loves
all in. They're all in.
I think it's probably in their contracts. If we make a theme park, he has to be in it.
If we make a theme park, they've had a theme park.
It's called Universal, though.
Can I also just say too, R.I.P. Tower of Terror. I like that.
Yeah,
I haven't been on the Guardians thing yet. I mean, it's basically the same thing, but I just like the Tower of Terror.
Can we get an F in the chats across?
Yeah, please. Can you guys do this for me?
Press an F for the chat for the Tower of Terror. All right, so Amazing Spider-Man 56 it's the last remains post-mortem.
Dun, dun, dun.
Which basically
translates
to the rest of the last remains.
The epilogue.
Right. After a brief in memory of Mike Hobson.
That's a very nice tribute by Tom DeFalco, actually.
Yeah, Tom DeFalco is awesome. Just talks about his work.
Mike Hobson, I did not know who he is, but he sounds like a very awesome man. And
it's definitely worth the read. It's definitely worth the read.
He sounds like the kind of guy that you want around the Marvel office to to work with and just hang out with.
So, all right, Amazing Spider-Man Last Remains Post-Mortem Part 1. Written by Nick Spencer, and Mark Bagley is the penciler for this and the next issue. So, yay, Mark Bagley. All right.
Who did the inks? Because there are some pages that look good and others that I don't like. Andrew Hennessy and John Dell.
Andrew Hennessy and John Dell did the
I think it's John Dell who keeps mucking up the art.
It might be.
I'm a meanie bobini about this, but inks are important.
It really is.
Detail is important, but if you have a good artist, I think the work still shines through, in my opinion. But that's just me.
I think Bagley is getting better. Like, I think he's finding his groove again.
I think I think that's a Hennessy page that Zach was just on right there.
Yeah.
What I don't like about this is that's Kingpin at the very bottom, and I think that's supposed to be Norman talking.
Norman became morbidly obese in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. So, all right. So we open with a conversation between Norman Osborn and the Kingpin, aka Wilson Fisk. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. So we open with that. There's a discussion about their use of the Spot.
They brought back Secret Empire again. I love Spencer going back to his previous failure of an event book.
So. Yeah, this is a direct reference to Secret Empire, something that I never read, and so I'm like, all right, Spot was in there.
As someone who has read it, I definitely appreciate Spencer kind of going back and using Secret Empire as like context or pretext for everything that's happening because it's in New York, and New York was affected by Secret Empire. So
yes, so we kind of cut back to the fight in the previous issue, and we hear begin. So. Spot really doesn't want to do it, but guess what? He is going to release all this energy and destroys basically the mausoleum. And we then cut back to Ravencroft Institute for the Criminally Insane.
He's in a box.
He's in a box. What's in the box? It's Kindred.
Pick in a box.
No.
No. So Director Osborn is being summoned basically to say, look, the report you requested on the strength of the field around the subject is ready. So basically, he can communicate with everything. And so then Kingpin shows up because they've got a lot to discuss. And, is
that Zelma from...
Yeah, who is that? Is that a character that, goth chick?
Okay, the chick you talking about?
With the kind of side cut.
I honestly think that's. I didn't know who that was.
I thought it was Kafka at first.
Let me go to everyone's reliable source, the Marvel Wiki. That's where everyone definitely goes for reliable information.
Yeah.
While you're doing that, and we figure out who that is. So Fisk kind of confronts Kindred, and this is going back to like issue 6 or 7, where he took the knee. So now he's like, we prepare the restraints. It's time to begin the interrogation. So Osborn then yells no, but tells him the restraints are not ready, and they had a deal. So you can't hurt him like I can, and that one of the best panels I will say that Bagley has drawn in a while. I mean, look at that. That's just delicious. I mean, absolutely delicious.
That's like sniffing. That's like sniffing blood tier panel right there.
So, basically, Norman's like, "Look, let me have my fun. Let me have my time with them, and then I will take care of things." And then once everybody, once Kingpin leaves, he demands that everybody walk out, including the black guy in the background that looks kind of like Ultimate Ben Reilly. That was kind of the first thing.
How come you're not sharing this on the screen?
Well, because
honestly, that feels kind of like just showing the entire issue. And that
I don't want to show the entire issue.
You show just random panels.
Yeah, least. I know. That's why
this is a John Dell page.
So so basically, there's this discussion between Norman and Harry, and this is where we're starting to see the good Norman,
the sensitive Norman,
the Norman that.
I do kind of like this.
Some people believe it is how Norman was,
before Green Goblin.
Before Green Goblin. Now, in the years since, this is kind of debated. So if you go back and you listen, or you go back to some of the other books, it really is interesting because there's been times where, like Child Within, particularly, you kind of see how much of a monster that Norman was.
So good.
So it's kind of back and forth, but this is this is Norman. I would say this is Norman circa like when Emily was pregnant with Harry. Like this was the hopeful Norman.
Mm-hmm.
So then we kind of go back to 24 hours prior, where we see that it was not an actual pumpkin bomb. This is where the where we get the kind of
real quick. I gotta bring this up, because there's like an entire couple pages worth of sequence that's kind of skipped here. I guess it's just because for expediency, but Kindred checked her and he was like, "Oh, she's dead. I'm gonna kill you." And Peter's just like, "Oh God, MJ," and she's like, "Nah, gotcha. It's a trick."
So he basically fills in Kindred as to what the contingency plan was. And so he's like, "You're gonna have to stall him. I knew I was the one that you wanted." And so finally, it was the three of them. MJ, Peter's like, "Get the hell out of there." So they order, and MJ all leave, and it becomes just the three of them. And then,
I also did appreciate that Peter and MJ did kind of get a quick reunion in this issue, especially since they hadn't seen each other. In 30-ish issues.
Several.
Right.
Yeah, 30. 30.
20 something.
Yeah, because it was like 29 when she leaves, I think.
26 issues.
Yeah.
So, Norman's like, to be able to see you again with the eyes of a loving father, to be able to feel that for you without the voices of a demon screaming over my every thought, the freedom of that is something I would have given anything for. And I know there's a piece of you that wanted that freedom too. Beneath all of that, I'm sure that's what my son truly wanted. You know how I know? Because everybody else went to, all their sins went back inside of them. And I didn't. So we then cut to all across the city where a taxi is not in fact a taxi. We get Carly Cooper.
It's a transformer.
It's a transformer, and so Carly Cooper gets asked out by Overdrive. And
I love how Paul's like doing his crossword puzzle. He's just done with the world.
Yeah, he's like, no.
I'm looking at the iPad for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're playing Sudoku.
Yeah.
Is that the Pro, by the way? Is that the iPad Pro? It is the iPad Pro.
Maybe.
Zach can smell it. Zach can smell it.
I have the 2018. I don't have the 2019. So then we cut to the Feast Center where Martin Lee shows up.
Dun, dun.
And he's gonna die or something like that. So
Yeah.
Aunt May's like, "What, Martin Lee?
Didn't I see you in the PlayStation game?"
Also another reference to the Randy Janice plotline that has not gotten any follow up since that arc.
Yeah, this is literally the first bit of follow up since.
I'm still waiting for them to do a Tombstone Robbie at dinner arc. I'm waiting for it.
That'll be interesting.
It'll happen.
So we then cut back to what happened immediately after everything went dark. So Kindred is basically, kind of like, this is all I've ever wanted. The three of us, me, my father, my best friend. Sounds like it was just the start of a bad joke, but then I guess it was. I'm sorry. I know this has been hard on all of us. I needed you to suffer like I did. That's the only way you can see the truth. So the only way you can remember what you did. Now, we don't know what that is. So
we've theorized.
Yeah. We have many theories.
So the truth that Peter's running from, I loved you both so much. There's even tears.
Then he cries.
Yeah.
Dude, that's beautiful. That is seriously so good.
It's kind of mean of me, but like the first time I read that with the weird tears rolling down, it's like I kind of laughed.
How? Like that's what I love about this.
It's a lot.
Like we'll get that.
I guess it's just because it's kind of goofy. It looks kind of goofy with.
Right, let's get to the end so we can talk about this.
Put your mask on and hide. Then all of a sudden the troops show up with Kingpin. Peter's kind of trying to figure this out, and Norman's like, "This is all my fault. I've done so many terrible things. I promise you, I'm going to find the truth that you seek." And then Norman Osborn.
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire?
No, I was thinking more like Christopher Daniel Barnes. You'll pay, Osborn. You'll pay.
Could you?
I've been waiting to do that.
You'll pay, Osborn. You'll pay.
Zach? Can you do me a favor? Can you put up the last page at least?
Yes, I was about to. And then all of a sudden,
that's classic Bagley.
Mary Jane!
I'm about to mute you.
I feel like he's drawn that pose before, but that's why I'm like, it's classic Bagley.
So Bagley's like, you and I need to talk with the thunder in the background. And again, this is the sound that I thought. As soon as like the end of the episode, I was like, yes. All right.
And then a big cacao for the thunder.
So real quickly, I'm going to go through the comments and then I'll go around and talk for a second. Let everybody talk for a second. So I'll never forget seeing the Ghostbusters live action spectacular show in the Universal Studios Florida in the early 90s. And this is why we wish Bagley drew Norman at the end of the part 3 of Revelations.
I mean, I'll be the art apologist again. I don't really mind Steve Scroce.
Oh, don't.
I don't mind him that much.
I think when we get to Forgotten Era, and I'm gonna have a full-on rant, like about Steve Scroce because of what was said during Life of Riley. Like, I have some issues. I don't hate his artwork. Don't misunderstand.
Right.
So
his Spider-Man is good. I think it's great. Actually, I would say
his humans though look not human.
They're hit. Well, I mean, they're hit and miss. They're very like.
Look, I love
silly putty like or something. I don't know.
I love X-Man, and one of my favorite holiday comics is actually the 'Twas the Night Before Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah,
that Bagley or that not Bagley. DeFalco wrote had X-Man and everything like that, and I enjoyed that issue. So it's gonna be fun going back and rereading those issues. Vinkman says that Paul was in fact playing Galaga. He didn't think we noticed, but we did. That's a Tony Stark.
Can I take this next one? Get back here, Shocker!
I am going to.
Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
If you go to our Discord, we have that emoji in there.
We do have the emoji on our Discord, by the way. Discord, the Discord page, you can find it up on spidey-dude.com. Man is getting all, but Matt basically is. That's what he's referencing. Is Matt says, "Man, it's getting all '90s up in here." Where's that?
I mean, I want to go back to the '90s. I was thinking about this the other day. I miss those like late '90s days of Spider-Man. Kind of. I didn't read a lot of it, but just the stuff that I was getting at the time, and like the PS1 game, that
Yes, I'm gonna have to get a PS2 because I've got a PS3. And I'm gonna have to get me a PS2 breakdown and find like the original PS1 game. I
should never have sold it. I sold like a lot of my games to Amazon like over a decade ago, and I kind of wish I did. I don't know why I sold that one. I should have kept it. I regret it.
I had the N64 version, so it had like a red cartridge. Because most of those cartridges were like gray.
Yeah,
but this is that. More on that in a future podcast. But Paul, since you are reading and you're being diligent, I'm going to let you have the first word of this particular issue.
Yeah, this was a. I had to miss the last couple last reviews or whatever because my baby was doing stuff, and so I've been loving this Spencer's run, obviously, and I really enjoyed 55. Though I can understand the criticism a lot of people had about that just being kind of an abrupt ending for the whole series or the storyline. I kind of liked it that it was kind of an abrupt ending. It was just different. It didn't, everything wasn't trying to be wrapped up in a bow, but instead it's kind of showing us that we're continuing this. This is not just going to be done in this, one issue. It's actually going to be a longer form of storytelling, which I really like. And these post-mortem issues and as we get in the next issue too, but this kind of sets it up, is just kind of giving us more ammunition for what's going to be happening. And I think that you brought up The Child Within, which is criminally underrated Spider-Man story that people don't talk enough about. I love that series. And Neil, I know you had a hard time with the emotion, and I think that I get it. Like sometimes that stuff can be a little over dramatic, but again, I'm not sure if you've read Child Within, but as someone who's dealt with things like that with family and having a father that can be somewhat intense, I can tell you I relate a lot to Harry, and I can understand a lot of the confliction that he has, and I totally identify with it. And The Child Within and anything with Harry dealing with this kind of trauma that he kind of dealt with as a child, I totally relate to. And I loved seeing Kindred kind of bringing that out, that it's not just the fact that he wants to kill Peter. He's so hurt, whatever he's, tied to in this world that he's in or whatever, that it's feeling this traumatic stress in his life. And then he's trying to get revenge on in some way. And though he's powerless at this time, which I think he's just biding time, let's be real.
No, yeah, sure. I think it's a big keikaku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, the tears to me represent the fact that he is still, even though he's doing this, it's still like it hurts. Like, and that humanity about it really makes me go, okay, this really is Harry. Because as you guys all know, I had a problem with the fact that Kindred was Harry. I was like, I don't like that. Because to me, Harry should be a Green Goblin. Like that's because of The Child Within. But now, after reading these two issues, especially with this one, it made me kind of get behind the idea of Kindred being Harry, or at least this version of Kindred. Wink, wink.
But I should point out that I have read Child Within. It wasn't like the emotional stick that we're seeing that I laughed at. It was like the tears in the bandaged face. Yeah, and on subsequent readings, I've come to appreciate them a bit more. But like, it's kind of one of those things like when you see a crying skeleton. It's like the zoom in on the crying Indian.
I wouldn't go that far, but here's the last thing I'll say. I'll pass out to somebody else. And thank you, Zach, for giving me a chance to kind of do this really quick. Bagley, I don't think he's not in his prime, you could say.
Yeah,
but it's still really, really good.
Sure.
What we're getting, and that last page is phenomenal. I think it's a beautiful splash page. The one thing that I think that is so underrated about these issues, especially this one, and I think that you could only have an artist like Bagley who's been in the business for as long as he has and knows how to tell a story, is that think about how much dialogue is given into this issue. Right. And the fact that, like, when you read this, no one complains that there's dialogue, at least that I've read or heard. Everyone's like, this is stupid. Like, I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of that. And a lot of it's not just Spencer. It's because Bagley is able to storyboard and gives it an interesting edge on every page. So if you like Spider-Man comic books, you get different angles, different things. He's able to make these conversations dynamic, which is not easy. And again, I'll preach it on here. I'll preach it forever for the love of comic books. A good artist does not mean you draw pretty pictures. A good comic book artist means you're a great storyteller. And that is what Mark Bagley is. He's phenomenal. This issue is a great, solid issue because Bagley knows how to make these character moments, this progression of that we need in the story interesting without everyone having to punch each other, which is very, very hard to do. So I like this issue. We're not giving a grade yet. I'll say it, but yes, I like this issue quite a bit.
Okay, I was going to ask you what your grade was. So
well, I'll give it honestly, I'll give it a B+ because I liked it a lot. It just wasn't quite an A. Has to be like stellar in my opinion. But like this is like an above average comic book. I think this shows you, I think, the beauty of the medium, honestly, in a very like simple way. Because again, you're not trying to blow up anything huge, eat a planet by Galactus, or having a death of Superman, or or having a wedding issue. This is literally the beauty of the medium, as seen as like I think a higher end, and shows what you can do with it. I think Mark Bagley is a master, and this is a master class of storytelling. Artist. So yeah.
Look, I'm down for that. So let's go to Adam and Jokerman font.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. Like I would also give it a B+ because it's the thing is, for me, it's all set up right now. Like it concludes, it's the epilogue for Last Remains, but it's also setting up, this basically post-mortem arc. So, and I guess a little aside, I know one criticism I saw people say was something about like people don't like the messing around with time, like the flashbacks in the middle, like going back and forth with all that. And I sort of sympathize. It doesn't totally bother me because to me, that's something you see a lot in like TV stuff. Like, I watch a lot of, TV shows of different genres, and that's kind of a thing. It's to me, I mean, it's a literary thing in general, but I feel like it doesn't happen. Well, maybe it does. Maybe it happens in books. I can't really, say necessarily, but I see it a lot in TV where like you have a plot going on, and sometimes you sprinkle little flashbacks in between in an episode of a show or something like that. So my point is that there's a reason for it. I think at first I was kind of like, maybe this is why I didn't quite. I mean, I like the issue quite a bit. I think Bagley's art is really good. But there was something about it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was the back and forth, but I appreciate like, him finishing this thing. Well, I put finishing in quotes because it's not done yet, but it's the bookend to the last arc, and it's, setting up the next arc. I guess my point is that it's a good issue with some solid character stuff. and good art. Bagley, I agree, he's not really in his prime anymore, but he's still, I think he's getting his groove back into the series. You see that the Norman, change from,
oh yeah, let me pull that page.
He's we basically learned that he's fibbing. Oh, one thing I wanted to say is, I know a lot of people were like wondering, oh, like what the heck, like, Norman planned for this whole time, and we learned that no, he was fibbing. The sin taking logic remained consistent, which is it's good. That's good on Spencer. Like, he didn't cheat. Norman is still cleansed technically, but actually we don't know why he's still cleansed, because apparently the sins went back to everybody. So we'll have to, I guess.
It's very deliberate that the sins went back to everybody but Norman. But I've got the page. If you're watching us live,
that's some good. What I've been realizing is, I think that Bagley, his art shines when he does stuff like this. These kind of like close-up facial emotion things.
Something I want to point out is that around the same time this issue came out, there was a huge controversy around an artist named Gleb Melnikov, who made a big deal of I don't like 9-panel grids. And frankly, I agreed with him on that position. But pages like this, where you're actually emoting and not just like staring at the camera or doing the same thing over and over again. Yeah. This is where it's good.
Yes, exactly.
This is where Bagley was able to show that like you can have the 9 or 6 panel grid, but have it work.
Anyway, I'm sorry if it felt like I was rambling, but I guess my point is that this is a good issue. It's a good Norman issue, actually, because we get into his new deal, being, I guess, trying to be a good man now, or whatever. And I don't know if I've said this before, but I always like how Spencer ends it on a shocking splash page. Pretty much this whole run, he always has some kind of thing where it's like, in this issue, like, Norman Osborn, we need to talk right now, says Spidey as he points right at him, and like Paul said, it's a great splash page. It's solid, but it's not. It's not like it. I think my problem with it, well, not really a problem, but it's just it's setting up the future. It's not like. It's not that there's no meat to it, because there is meat to it, but there's no like I don't know. Actually, I don't know what it is I'm trying to say. But it is good. It's not. I guess, like what Paul said, it's not stellar. But it is enjoyable for Norman. If anything else, if nothing else, it's enjoyable for Norman.
So I was told that the Discord link for some reason is not up on Spidey-Dude.com. So if you are following also live, it is the Discord link is there. So there's the Discord link if you want to join our Discord. All right, Neil.
I think Paul and Adam kind of delivered.
Hang on, what was your grade, Adam? I'm sorry, that was
B+.
B+. All right, so B+. Adam.
I'm kind of in the same range. I'll give it a B+ too.
All right.
I think the unique thing I'm going to say that I don't think anyone else has is I don't know whether or not Norman is faking it or not, and that's I think a tribute to Spencer's talent as a writer is that we've had insane cackling Norman, and now we've had sensitive Norman, but now that the sins are back, we don't know whether or not he's just BSing his way through Harry. And that's, I think, a testament to his ability to write Norman effectively.
Sure.
And take it from someone who has read a lot of Norman, and the last good Norman we had was 15 years ago with Marvel Knights. I'm going to take what I can get. I do think that I do wonder where the sins are, and I have a theory where they are. And are we allowed to say it yet, or
let's wait till the end of the next issue?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
but I gotta say, Spencer's doing a great job of writing Norman, and this issue. My biggest problem is that it feels like we're wrapping up an arc that already said it was wrapped up.
Yeah. I think that might be part of why I gave it a B+.
We'll talk about that, I think, and after the end of the, because that's obviously a big deal. So I'll give so you gave it a B+. I'm going to give my grade right quick. I'm going to give this an A-. And I'm going to make myself solo for a second. Love the artwork. The depth that they're bringing Norman is one of the things, and I love that page. That page where Norman is doing his classic scowl, and he's, like this, and then, just a tortured individual. There's a depth to Norman that we're getting now that we haven't seen in a long time.
It's great.
And it's really refreshing, because every Spidey Green Goblin story since his return has been essentially the same thing. Norman Osborn's back. Everything's bad. I love you, Peter.
I want you to be my heir again.
I want you to be my heir, or something like that. This one of the biggest problems with the post Brand New Day universe was, what's Norman's motivation for hating Spider-Man? Well, it was Harry. I mean, if you go back and read Peter Parker Spider-Man 75, I highly recommend you listen to that episode of on CSC of Revelations, which I don't know why it's not showing up on Podcatchers. I'm going to be working on that this week. But at the end of the day, Norman's depth is just there. And I'll say this. There's a depth to Norman that didn't exist previous, that I'm getting here, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the psychoanalyzation of Norman, because at this rate, Norman needs to have some other motivations, and they're actually correcting that wrong. Again, it's felt like I've said this over and over again. There was some significant continuity issues that were just not being addressed, and Slott either didn't want to address them or didn't feel like that he needed to address them. But I think for longtime readers that have continued to stick with this title for the better part of a decade, these things needed to be addressed. And I think that it takes an expert level of care to be able to address those things. And so I'm really excited and pleased as to how that's occurred. We'll get into that a little bit more next issue. So I'm going to kind of jump into the review for next issue. So all right, so we're in issue 57. I'm going to share my screen again. I need to take myself off solo. All right, last remains, post-mortem.
Maybe.
And part 2. All right, so throughout the issue, we're getting a narration box of it looks like it's Kindred. He's talking, and so kind of getting a recap of what happened, and we get this reunion between MJ and Peter, and it's really exceptional. And MJ's like, "Is it really you? Is everything like?" MJ knows that he has been put through the ringer emotionally, and then the Spider friends show up, and they're pissed off. They're
it's weird because they inserted themselves into this mess.
Exactly.
And then they're like, Peter, you didn't tell us anything.
And he's like, I don't know anything.
Like Peter's just as confused as they are, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
So we then cut back to Ravencroft. Peter is angry. He is legitimately angry, and he's basically blaming Norman.
I love this a lot.
He is basically, Peter doesn't believe Norman. He doesn't believe that he's changed. He's like, Norman's like, look, he's my son. I had to do something. We have to help him. And, then the Order of the Spiders, like, we need to help him. Kindred isn't finished. All these sins he let loose aren't either. So you know, Madam Web being the most unhelpful, clairvoyant in the history of humankind.
Excuse me, Julia Carpenter, not Madam Web, because
she's Madam Web.
I know, because I just don't like. Yeah,
I never liked making Julia Carpenter Madam Web.
Julia Carpenter, should always be a Spider Woman. Thank you very much.
Real quick. This little sequence here convinced me that like Spencer didn't want the Spider family here, but editorial forced them on him. So he's like, fine. It's like you know how like Harrison Ford's just kind of like in episode 9, and he's just kind of there, and like his hair is all over the place, and he's not shaved. It's like he just wandered on the set, and like he's like, fine, I'll do the fucking scene.
Neil, no F-bombs, dude.
I'm sorry. Please don't beat me.
Oh Jesus!
All right, I'm not that mean, but like, come on, man.
Fine, I'll do the scene.
I'll do the scene. I'm not gonna be able to edit this. This is live. We're doing it live. I have that audio, but I'm not gonna play it right now. I actually have Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. So, nevertheless, the order is established officially. The Order of the Spider, and they're just going to call it the Order. And it's going to probably be a 5-issue mini. There's probably going to be a 5-issue miniseries that spins out of the events of the
written by James Tinney in the 4th, because that's his entire gimmick, just writing team books.
So basically, a further confrontation between Norman and Peter, and like he's like, this ends here, and Peter just beats the living crap out of Norman in a way that hasn't been done since Spectacular Spider-Man number 250. If you have not seen that particular issue, that was the last time that Peter just beat the living tar out of Norman.
I'm sorry, Sarah.
Way to go, Neil. I heard that in the next room, dude. That's how loud you were.
Okay.
So anyway, basically, like Peter's like kind of sulking off, and he's like, I'm locked up in here, right where I want to be. And you get
I was joking like in last issue I said all according to Keikaku, but this is literally just a Keikaku.
Yeah. So we then cut back to the morgue where Carly is like, why am I here? Because
the plot needed me to be.
Because the plot needed me to be. So
I appreciate it, actually. Why not? You know,
they're using Carly in a way that actually gives her something to do and isn't just
exactly.
I'm Spider-Man's ex-girlfriend. Do something, please. Here, now we're doing something good. Is that a dog there? Hello, doggy.
There's a dog or a cat back there.
So basically, like Carly's like, look, you know, and like the other ME is like, this is not what we normally do, and so it like,
since when is that
the last thing the last thing I need to do is piecing together what all these bodies have in common. Poor Peter, ginning up sympathy for your ex doesn't always come easy, but this kindred guy sure seemed eager to hit below the belt. So digging up all the people, he's wait a second.
Dun dun dun.
And she's flipping through the pages. Oh, I just figured this out. I think I know who the corpse is. Okay, hang on. Sorry.
We'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah. So she's going through all the corpses, and there's one that's like, oh my god. And so she's trying to call MJ. It goes to voicemail. She leaves a voicemail. Look, I took a look at the bodies like you asked. The one thing, there's one more than there were supposed to be. So I checked them all, and the last one wasn't on my list. And I don't know how, MJ, but it was blank. And then the phone falls out of her hand.
Owie.
And the centipede starts crawling all along.
Very Naked Lunch, if you guys ever seen that.
How many of these things does Kindred have? Like, is it just as many as he needs, or
yeah? So Peter
doesn't he have 2 or something?
I know he has at least 3.
Peter shows up. He sits on the bed. MJ wakes up and says, "This isn't over, is it?" And Peter's like, "No, it isn't, because this story arc is not over." To be continued next week with a bunch of with a homage. Inner Demons. If you've played the Spider-Man PS4 game, you'll understand that reference.
MJ goes, "It's over, isn't it?" And Peter says, "No, we have 3 issues left in the trade. We have to pad it out."
Yeah. Peter says, "Not till the fish jumps.
Not till it ain't over till the fat lady sings." So, all right, issue 58
and
is
the fat lady is very shy.
So I love how it says cover not yet revealed, but if you go back to the previous page,
well, because they actually originally I don't think they revealed that.
They revealed they used a variant cover as a placeholder.
Yeah.
So because they didn't want to spoil the fact that the Inner Demons were coming back, but all right, so that's the end. One era of Nick Spencer's run comes into a shocking in this issue, but the seeds he's planted along the day for the next start to blossom. Don't miss the pivotal issue. It is issue 58. Next we will be covering that next week. So first things first, we got to talk about this one. Okay. First up, we're gonna go with Neil.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm pointing in the right direction. All right, Neil, what is your grade? What is your thoughts?
I think this one was a substantial improvement to the last one, and that's not to say that the last one was like bad, but I think that it was lacking something important, and it felt like it felt like the interactions between Peter and Norman were what was needed last issue. Like we got a cliffhanger of like we need to talk, and now we finally got to talk in the confrontation, and it felt very impactful as a consequence of that cliffhanger. So kudos to Spencer for using that cliffhanger effectively. Spencer's, it's one of those weird things where like you want the mystery to be wrapped up, but it's also kind of interesting to see it keep constantly going on and on. I've made references to the song that doesn't end before, but I kind of do want a resolution eventually. Please, Spencer. I've been a good boy. I'm turning in my good boy points for some chicken tendies. So
your Doge coins.
Yes, my Reddit coins for. Yeah, so please give me an answer. Who's the body? And I think Zach and I have the same answer. This was definitely a much stronger Bagley issue than the last one. There's a couple of pages that are still whacking. I'm going to go back and check the art team real quick and see if it's the same ones.
I think there's like 3 inkers on this one, though.
Yeah, John Dell, Andrew Hennessy, and Andy Owens. But like definitely a step up above the last one just because of the inkers. There's a few pages that are still a little wacky. The ones with the Spider family look really weird.
Yeah. No, I don't like how Bagley draws Miles' costume.
I don't like how he draws most of them. Like he draws Jessica with like toothpig's legs.
That last panel of them swinging off, and it's like we're the Order now. Like that one's fine. I think
there's a couple that still look a little weird in that panel. Like the Jess and Madam Web like holding hands as they fly away into the sky.
Are they holding hands?
And like Miles's web I guess the phantom anchor point is her hair.
Huh.
Oh yeah.
Miles is like yeeting them across the sky and using them as a missile. It's like in
Jess can fly, but wait, Jess can fly. So
no,
That's
it
true,
it just looks really weird, like the way she's kind of like standing still midair, and the Madam Web's just like floating without gravity.
Yeah.
I do like the way he drives. Also, Anya looks like she's gliding. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like the only thing it's missing is defying gravity from Wicked and a broom.
I do think, like, I made a joke on a different Discord server that if this arc had just been like Gwen, Miles, and maybe Julia, and you just took out Anya, Jess, and Silk, that you could have had the same story and nothing would have changed.
Yeah,
like, honestly, there's
I like that
nothing
actually.
To be gained.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be gained to having Silk or
Silk and Peter,
Peter.
But I don't care about that, Adam.
Yeah, Silk and Peter have well, I mean, if anything, it makes more sense for Silk to be there, I think, than Jessica.
Yes, absolutely.
And possibly Anya.
You can maybe argue Cindy's relevance, but like Jess and Anya don't need to be there.
Yeah.
Let's be real; they all don't need to be there, but they're there, and you just gotta I don't know. For me, it's I totally understand the criticism, but to me, this is staple like superhero lock everyone together, and you're gonna get that because they're trying to promote these other Spider-Man characters. Yeah. And I'll be honest, they all have their strengths and weaknesses. I like more than some than others, but like this is just what you have to deal with in the corporate conglomerate of Marvel.
And I'm a bit of a, and I understand like that it's easy to be like a meanie bobini towards like the diversity hires of the Spider family.
What is with you with Meanie Bobini? Like
that's Neil's thing now.
That's my new phrase.
It's his verbal tick.
Just let him have it. No, it's not a tick. It's just his thing. Let him have it.
I disagree.
But like it's easy to hate on the Spider family, and some of those criticisms are understandable. Like I don't want them here. I'm fine with Silk getting a 5-issue mini. I'm fine with Miles having his ongoing. I'm fine with Jess having a pointless ongoing that no one reads.
A pointless new costume, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like the new Jessica series. I haven't caught up with it recently. I read the first 3 issues. I really liked it. I want to continue it. It's actually, I don't think it's that bad.
But like, we don't need them in Amazing Spider-Man because none of them really
I would agree with you. I would agree with that too. But they're there. I mean, that's the thing. I think that's the thing with Spider-Verse has cemented that. Like,
Spider-Man, they're gonna be here forever. We have to live with it.
Right. Good or ill, yeah.
Yeah, and like obviously Batman has his Batman family, and I never thought in a million years Spider-Man would have his Spider-Man family that like that. I mean, he always had the allies and different characters, but now with this, it's like, man, it really is like the Batman family. You know, for Marvel.
But I'm fairly certain that was deliberate.
I don't know if it was and it wasn't. I think I think there was always. I
think they saw the success of the Bat family and they wanted to replicate that with the with the various spiders they had like hanging around that had like various ongoings, and they just capitalized on it.
I think that and obviously I think anyone would want to capitalize or copy the success of the Bat family. The difference is I think that there wasn't really the means to do it until they brought Miles over, and I don't think they did it just for that, but I think that it kind of turned into that with Spider-Verse. And Spider-Verse, the slot comic, then turned into the movie, and then it's kind of gradually kind of prepared people that now it's a family instead of just Spider-Man, which again, it goes against, I think, a lot of purists out there that I know that are part of, do the other podcasts, the Crawl Space. A lot of them are purists and don't like Spider-Man being part of a team. And there's definitely arguments for that. There's arguments that he's, also been a team member as well. And I would say with the recent not just the last, 5-6 years, but I'd say the last 15 years with New Avengers, it's kind of reshaped that a little bit. And I really, and FF obviously, I definitely like the aspect of him being a little more of a team player and having that aspect with them now. But I definitely do miss Spider-Man just having Spider-Man stories too. I like a balance. So that's
what I said last time was because in 55, Harry says, "Oh, you tried to make this family or whatever," and that kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah, we talked about it on the last.
Yeah, because I was like, I was just like, he's not Batman. He's not trying to rebuild his family through Robins and Batgirls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like he's always kind of been a loner, an outcast. I don't mind him having these guys, but I don't think he's trying to like create a new family through them.
I agree with that 100%.
I think that was Spencer using Kindred as like a mouthpiece to voice the general criticisms of the fan base regarding the Spider family.
Yeah, I don't disagree. All right, so what's our grades, Neil?
A-.
A-. Paul.
If I can talk a little bit about the issue.
Talk about it first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were wanting my grade right now. I was like, oh, dang, man. I think this is more of the same of the last issue, a pretty damn solid issue. I think the art's not quite up to Bagley's efforts necessarily.
That may be the inking too, since there's 3 different inkers.
It's not just the inking though. To me, it's just the way he kind of puts things together is my favorite. Like, there's a weird picture of MJ, panel page top left, page 8 top left. She looks like she's like 50 years old and has like a different profile. She just looks weird. I'm sorry, it's just not consistent. But again, it's not an indictment on Bagley. I couldn't draw anything, and this guy's amazing. He's a legend. The order was a little bit of an eye roll for me, and this is someone who actually likes these characters and has that aspect. When they go, what are the order? I was like, oh god, why?
Well, that's like
the order of the Phoenix.
That did kind of. I mean, I think we all know what you mean, Paul. Like that. I thought it too. Like the order. Okay.
Like, really? What about Web Warriors? I like Web Warriors. God damn it! I mean, that's great. Can I say God damn it, Zach?
That's
we've already went down the train. It's fine.
You need to before the show. You need to let us know like what is.
I mean,
allowable.
I assume.
I'll just make sure that we got the. We'll just make sure we got the E. You know, the E marker on the audio.
I thought you said that like the channel was like 18 plus or whatever.
PG-13. You know, except like because eventually at one point we were going to have like Brian's son on. We just haven't been able to get reconnected yet, but but it's okay.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, but yeah, Web Warriors. I think that's a much better name. It's a little more on the nose and a little cheesier, maybe, but I think it's better than the Order. That's just
I don't like the Order. To me,
it's alliterative at least.
Yeah. Call it the Order of the Web at least, not even just the Order. It's like that's like the Matt Fraction thing from Civil War, right? I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, okay. Again, when you just say the Order, immediately in my head I went Order of the Phoenix, or something along those lines, and I just like, no.
It brings you back to bad HeroClix memories.
Exactly.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. Zach, me and you, man. All right. So yeah, wrapping this up. But again, it's still a great issue in my opinion. That this is solid Spider-Man stuff and solid Nick Spencer, because again, the stuff between Spider-Man and Norman is great. And again, it's Mark Bagley giving us a great kind of storytelling of them kind of talking. And I'm a big fan of Spider-Man's eyes being expressive. I love that. And I think Mark does a great job of giving us that. There's a panel here where he's punching Norman. It's like the flashback sequence where he's remembering Kindred killing him over and over again. But the panel that it shows Spider-Man punching Norman, it has like massive Steve Ditko vibes to me. I'm not sure if I'm alone in that or not, but it looks like a Steve Ditko like homage. It's weird. At least that one picture. But yeah, there's great art. I love the characterization of
those that are watching us live. There's the page.
Yeah, there's the page. I just think that this I love this going deep in the emotions of Peter Parker. That's one thing that I think that we don't really go that much into, because Peter's he's so selfless, right? You don't really see the emotions of Peter Parker because he's always giving himself to other people. And I love that about Peter. I love the fact that he's always giving himself to others, because that is very much a trait in society that we don't have. People are selfish. They're not selfless. That's what Peter is. Yeah. He's selfless to a fault. And that's the exact opposite of everyone, including myself. I'm a very selfish person, self-admittedly. But the thing is that you get to see someone who is always selfless, just kind of losing it a little bit. And it's not in a way where like, the J.M. DeMatteis, no, I love me some J.M. DeMatteis, but not from like the whole like bury the spider or bury the Peter, bury Peter. Spider. Like
he had like a mental breakdown at that point.
Right. Mental breakdown after the death of the robot parents.
This is relatable because you're talking about diving into emotions that are really that are, even though it's done like where he died over and over again by his like former best friend or whatever. Though I still argue that why is Harry considered his best friend? But anyway, But anyway, hold on. But I'm almost done. But all that said, I like the idea of of Peter having these really, really strong emotions, because we don't see that very often. Yeah, we see him get depressed here or there, but he's on the edge right now. I think anyone is. The one thing about Spider-Man is he's always been the relatable superhero. You can always see yourself inside of him, and I think that we're seeing a side that I actually really admire, again, because this is the anger. We talked about. I keep talking about how he has a temper. This is the side of Peter, that the more humanity side of Peter that we don't really see. I think Spencer is diving into it. Granted, it's a very comic booky 616 way, but again, we're getting the idea that people have their breaking points, and that Peter's at his. And I really like the fact that we're seeing it, and it's relatable because we can understand that someone's putting him through the ringer, and it's not. And there is also. What's the root of the character? There's something gnawing at Peter, the guilt. What is the guilt? And I love that. And Almost dropped my iPad. That's bad. But yeah, I
don't do it. Don't do it. It's really expensive to fix if you crack that screen. Trust me.
Yeah. So everything about this issue I think is another B+ for me.
All right.
It's just really quick. One last thing. It's just really weird for me to people like I was listening to a podcast today. They were really kind of putting Nick Spencer to town a little bit, and I was like, dang, like I just feel like I'm alone. Not alone because you guys all love Nick Spencer too, but I'm like, man, people don't like this run. Like this is great. Yeah. And Neil, you kind of talked about you kind of want a wrap up of everything. I'm the exact opposite. Like and again, I love that we're so different that way. That I love the fact that it's going to keep going because it's keeping me invested, and I like that the fact that this is going to keep going. And what exactly this is, where this is, I don't know. And I love the fact that, again, we're diving deeper and deeper and deeper into these characters, and I love that fact that there's no sign of ending, but there's other things going on too. Like
so real quick, you mind if I jump in on here as a rebuttal? Yeah. I don't want the run to end, but I want I want some plot lines to get resolved because I did a visual aid on a different podcast once for this, but Spencer has like 11 or 12 different separate plot points running. They're interconnected with each other, and as long as they're all going, we're not going to get any meaningful resolution. Mm-hmm. So I just want to see like something wrapped up so that when the time comes to end the run, which it'll have to, that's how comics work.
Yep. We
can wrap it up effectively and not all in one go, like bam, 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 bam. I want to go bam, 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 bam.
And I don't
just all in one go.
Right. But I don't think he's also leaving anytime soon. I think if anything, the same of amazing, and I think for the most part, Spencer's gotten like rave reviews. I mean, again, I don't hate the slot run as much as you guys do, but I think this has been some great Spider-Man. I mean, we all agree to that, and I think that there's no reason to take him off. And I don't want to see Coates and Stegman on Spider-Man right now. I just don't. Like I don't want. I know people are like,
I don't want Cates there.
Yeah.
I'm good with Donny Cates coming on maybe after Nick Spencer's done.
Let him do an annual.
Exactly. Yeah, do an annual.
Well, what I mean is that I'm expecting Nick Spencer to be on for a long time. So maybe after they get their creative or own stuff, him and Stegman, then they can come back and be that. What they were to Venom. Look, the Venom arc, I think that now that we know that there's an ending there is awesome. We can kind of talk about that probably next episode. But so what is your grade exaggerated swagger of Neil?
I already said A-.
A-. Okay. So Adam?
Yes.
You already gave your grade on this one?
Oh no, never mind. I'd give it an A- too. Okay. I agree with a lot of what Paul said. Like, I really like Peter beating up Norman and having this conversation with Norman, saying that he's just done with trying to solve these problems that he says like he has people that he loves and he wants to put them first, and I think that's refreshing that he's like, when he says let Harry rot, and he's got people that he loves that he has to put first. I really enjoyed that. I thought, look at that, like he's standing up for himself. He doesn't want to take this mess anymore. And the mess isn't over yet. We know that. Like it's still going. But I don't know. It was just really. It was what made the issue better than the last one for me. And like Paul said, it's very relatable. At some point, Peter's got to put himself and the people he loves before solving the world's problems. And I really like that. The Order of the Web stuff, I don't really care about. I kind of, it was kind of corny.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. Okay. Like, are they going to leave the book? I guess I hope so. I mean, I don't necessarily dislike the characters either. It's just like, I mean, I get what Neil's saying. Like, I feel like it could have been half the characters, and it could have worked.
So we never got a conclusion for Doctor Strange.
Right. No, I mean, I think that's like the end game. Wink, wink.
He's still he's off in King in Black in a coma. Because he got BTFO'd by Null.
Mm.
Well, I mean, everybody's dead there. Let's be honest.
I mean, let's face it. Like, Marvel's fast and loose with how all these things interconnect, really. So does it really matter? But anyway, True. I digress a little bit. I thought. I mean, I think you can definitely tell that there are 3 different inkers in this issue because, like, Bagley's work is solid, but there are these little things that are, Paul was talking about expressive eyes. I think that could be due to the inkers. I'm not really sure. Maybe it is Bagley, because Bagley, from what I've been seeing lately, is he keeps the eyes fairly static and not dynamic. Which I will say that I kind of prefer the eyes not being expressive, because technically, this is a costume that he made, so they shouldn't.
Oh, that's something Paul and I agree on that I don't agree on with you. I like the expressive eyes.
I mean, I can in, like, Spectacular they do it, and that's fine with me because it's a cartoon, whatever. But I don't know, like, I have these little things with, like, faux realism. Like, I want to, and consistency, that it's like, okay, like, he made this himself. Like, the eyes aren't going to move, like the eye, emotion is usually shown through, like, he, shadows cast over the face and stuff like that, and anyway, but that's neither here nor there, whatever. I like the issue more than the last one. I thought it was really good. Okay. I like that Peter is, taking a stand for himself and putting him and his loved ones first. But, this stuff, it's not ending soon, but it's I think there's going to be a lot of more of this, torment of, like, Peter,
doom.
There you go. I think we're still gonna get, Peter being put through this emotional ringer, I guess, and I think like I said, I'm hoping that this is going to conclude in a way that a lot of us are going to be happy with. I do. I sympathize with Neil, like, wanting some of these plot points to be addressed and resolved. I think that is coming. I think we're gonna get some of that, in the next couple months.
Hopefully.
And it's all wait and see for me. I like it though. I think it's solid, if nothing else.
All right, so I'm going to stick with the same grade. I think it's an A- for me. As we kind of, it's been an ominous type feel. So I don't know,
what was that?
That was the ominous sound thing I got with the board.
You tried.
I tried. I mean, look, is this sunshine and rainbows? No, it's not. It really is not. Look, if you're looking for laughter, this is not your story.
Okay.
Okay, that was crickets. So look, I am all for an explosive climax of a storyline, but it is one of those situations where I'm like, okay, this is my favorite Norman Peter confrontation since Peter Parker Spider-Man number 95. For those that don't remember that issue, that is the issue where Norman still owns the Daily Bugle. Nitro, the living exploding terrorist, shows up, blows up the elevator shaft, and it's Betty Brant, Norman, Peter, and little Normie stuck in this elevator in this rubble. And so it's a very personal, and Norman's playing his psychological games. Yeah. But back in that era, Spec 250, the whole point of Citizen Osborn was Peter got rope-a-doped.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of doing the rope-a-dope with Norman, it's Harry that's doing the rope-a-dope. I mean, when you hear, this is where the use of the caption boxes really works.
Just as planned.
Because it's like, okay, this is the Harry Osborn of Spectacular.
Yeah, DeMatteis Spec.
DeMatteis Spec. This is my contingency plans have contingency plans, and I am being a magnificent just bastard. And so I think I love the artwork. I get the problems with the inking, and yes, they need to give Bagley an inker and stick with it.
Just give him Hennessy. Hennessy's the one who's doing all the good work.
Well, I mean, really, let's face it. Since Eisenov passed away, who's been his? That was kind of his go-to inker during the Ultimate era.
I think Wade von Grawbadger was his inker during his late Ultimate period.
Right. So again, I'm of the belief that we this was a trilogy, and I put this on Twitter because there were some people that were kind of throwing shade towards Spencer, and I said, look, I blame the marketing department because you had Sins Rising, now you had Last Remains, and now we're in Post-Mortem, and we had all the build up to Sins Rising, and then we had the Return of the Green Goblin, and then now we're in Last Remains. This really is the fight. Now, look, allegedly, according to solicitations, this is the final chapter, but really we're getting to issue 60, and there's going to be something significant happening in the next 3 issues. We'll see, and we'll go from there. This was, Matt brings up a bad point. The elevator issue was pretty good, and then the Gathering of the Five happened. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to go through the comments real quick because it's been a while since we've done it. And all right.
Oh, a save spec sock puppet. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know
I'll address that in a second. Vinkman says, for people of a certain age, Bagley is our Spider-Man artist, and that's true. I think the play bar might be missing on the episode with issue 75 back on your site as well. 75 was working. So I don't know what's going on with CSC. I've got to figure that out and fix that. For a long time, Norman Green Goblin fan, he couldn't be happier. Sarah says, "Way to go, Neil." She heard it in the next room, and that it's fine, and that we're demonetized. So thanks, Neil.
You're welcome.
Bankman said, "Hey, we've got okay." So Greg, references something that we have on our Twitter page. So we are right now, and I'm going to pull this up. No longer solo myself. We had the interview, Final Curtain interview came out on Monday. This is our most liked tweet in the history of our Twitter page. So that's awesome. Obviously, there's a big hashtag going around called Say Spectacular Spider-Man. And Lucas says he would pay $1,000 and work 1 month free to support everything and anything to make season 3 happen. So, Luca, I hate to break the bad news, but you might want to listen to that at the end of that episode. Greg Weisman goes deep into why there wasn't a season 3, what happened, and why everything happened the way it has happened. And it's a must listen for any Spectacular Spider-Man fan. I think all of the 26 episodes of Spec Radio with Greg Weisman, you should listen to all of them because they all have various insights that you might not have known about until we did the show. And so it's definitely worth a listen to go back and listen. Also listen to the fan panels, and we'll talk a little bit more about how you can be on the show and stuff like that. Leave a voicemail. Voicemail line is 818-925-6631. So back to our comments for a second. Matt Giovanni says Harry's a dirtbag and he gave it a B+. Vinkman has enjoyed the Spencer run, but I've not had any real desire to go back and reread it afterwards. And that's where we are. Okay, so we're caught up on our comments right quick. Look, I believe that there's we got some great stuff going on with Nick Spencer's run. I think it's exciting. So next week, day of next Wednesday, we'll be back here talking about the latest issue 58 of Amazing Spider-Man. So we'll definitely talk about that.
Who do we real quick? Who do we think is the 10th body?
I think it's Harry. If it's not Harry, it's Aunt May.
I'm gonna be mad if it's Aunt May, because then we're going right back to the Clone Saga, and I know that you love the Clone Saga, Zach.
But no, wait. If it's Aunt May, that means that's how May survived the gunshot wound. I'm not saying necessarily if it's the genetically altered actress that was, had the role of a lifetime. I'm saying that the Aunt May died. No, what I'm saying is that Aunt May died during one more day. How have you not heard me make these jokes about the genetically altered actress?
No, it's just in that particular sentence, the way you said it was just amazing. Like she had the career of a lifetime.
Yeah, the role of a lifetime. What do I get at the end of this role? You die. What? you have a stroke and you die. Why? We get to mess with Spider-Man. Did it ever make sense? The answer to that question, of course, is no. I am on record hating Aunt May for various reasons, especially when Aunt May sits there and blames Peter Parker, when Betty Brant was in the hospital, and says, you haven't been this irresponsible since Ben died. Shut up. Just no. That was an awful issue. Sorry, Paul. It was written by Slott. Actually, that was Spencer or Stegman's first issue on Spider-Man. Actually, that was his kind of his tryout. Fun random fact. So follow us on Twitter at Spideydude Radio. All of our shows go up on there. We did publish a episode of Amazing Spider-Man Classics. Thank you WordPress for not publishing. So there it is, ASM Classics. Just go to spidey-dude.com and hit play on that one. So, okay. We got another episode of ASM Classics tomorrow. And then Friday, we're going to be live right here on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube for Make My Mayday. Guys, final thoughts. We'll go around the horn. Paul.
Yeah, I'm really excited where this is going. And I think that Nick Spencer has been delivering us a really solid Spider-Man stuff. And I love Kindred. I have my own hopes and dreams of what Kindred is. I want it to be a part of the One More Day story, and I would love to see Spider-Man and Mary Jane get back together through this. I hope that this is what he's trying to do, but it remains to be seen. But I love it. I can't wait. Obviously for the show going forward, I can't wait for us to talk about the issue, but also talk about other comics too of the Spider-Man world, and just talk about old things and revisit things, and I'm really excited about that. So exciting stuff for the Spideydude Experience show. Like I said, I wanted this to be the place where all Spider-Man fans want to hear their Spider talk, if you will. Or Spider-Man words or whatever you want to say. I don't know, but yeah, lots of fun stuff on the show up ahead, I think.
Adam.
Well, what do I want to say? I don't know. Just like I think I've said this before. Keep the faith. Keep reading the comic. I'll be a shill for the comic. I don't care. Because I think it is pretty good. I think there's substantial stuff happening, and I think, like I said, my hope is that we're all going to be pleasantly surprised with how all of this wraps up. One point I wanted to say was, I do think now that Spencer is going to get 100 issues. Like we're over halfway there. I think if not 100, he's going to get pretty close. So there you go. And keep listening to us, and give us comments and all that. Yeah, just keep reading Spider-Man and enjoy yourself.
All right, Neil.
So I have three things to say. The first off is you spelt my name wrong in the @ from the tweet on the tweet.
I know, man. It's
the second is
that's why it didn't tag you, and it's why for whatever reason didn't tag Paul either. It only tagged me in that tweet. So,
but I derailed. I think it was a good month. It's been a good month for Spider-Man so far. I do think that Spencer needs to, kick it into high gear now that we're getting to the other arcs. Just make sure we stick the landing on this one, please, Spencer. I've defended you this far. Please don't make my faith feel misplaced. Also, the third thing is go watch my show on next Friday, because that's when I talk about that's when I talk about books that aren't just Spider-Man related.
Yeah, so if you want to hear, Neil's expanded thoughts, the Bogenrieder Variety Hour, find it on YouTube or
also
Twitch.
On Twitch.
Also on Twitch.
I stream it on Twitch, but you can catch the stream after the fact on YouTube when I upload it there.
Okay, so find them on Twitch. We are on Twitch. We're eventually going to be streaming on Twitch. It's twice the amount of money to use StreamYard with Twitch, so we just haven't gotten that far yet. But eventually we will. We'll be streaming in all 4 locations. But yeah, again, go to twitter.com/Spideydude Radio. Facebook, Instagram, Patreon @ Spideydude Network. If you want to be a part of the show, you can always leave me an email, SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail. We got some voicemails for Spectacular Radio. We're looking for more. We got some voicemails for Clone Saga Chronicles. We're going to be wrapping both those shows up, but we have voicemails. We want to hear your voice. If you want to leave us a voicemail for this show, I will play them through the board on the show. We will play your voicemails live here on the Spideydude Experience. Of course, patreon.com/Spidey Network. That's where you can help support the site. You can become a $5, $15, or $25 member and get all sorts of fun perks. Thanks again to Vinkman. Greg says he'll be a shill for the comic too. I'm loving it. I'm gonna give the listeners final thoughts while I'm going through all this. If you have any more final thoughts, I will broadcast it and display it. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We're really excited. We're going to continue going weekly on both this and Make My Mayday. Some fun stuff for fan interactions that are coming soon. All right. Matt asked a great question. What's there left to cover on Clone Saga Chronicles anyway? Well, nothing. The running joke is that there's the Miles Morales aspect of the show. So I haven't decided if I'm going to cover that. The only other thing I haven't covered really is the life story. Ben Reilly made a prominent appearance. Ben Reilly made a prominent appearance on that during that miniseries. So that there's that. Other than that, 101 Ways in the Clone Saga. That's the only thing we have not covered from the Clone Saga trades. So that's it. 101 Ways in the Clone Saga and Spec 140 or 241, which is the kind of the rebirth, the epilogue to Revelations. But we'll kind of cover that, I think, more on the first episode of Forgotten Era. So, so that's kind of what's left covering Clone Saga Chronicles. We'll be mainly doing a live caller show, and the great thing about the board is that you can call that voicemail line and actually talk with us and interact with us on the phone if you want to do that. Or what we'll do is we'll share the link. We'll put you in the green room, and you can have your face broadcast on there too. I think we're going to do a live caller show for to like celebrate Clone Saga Chronicles ending. We definitely want your emails and voicemails for Spectacular Radio. That will be recorded, not live. But there's a lot of great. There's a few really cool surprises that me and Greg have already been cooking up, and for that episode, some great people. So, Minkman says he's chomping at the bit for the next episode of Make My Mayday. Well, that will be a review episode. We're going to be reviewing the next 6 issues of Spider-Girl, and so we're really excited about that. Me and Kelly were literally just doing some planning right before we went live tonight, and so yeah. Okay. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap the show up here. All right, one more time. Patreon.com/Spidey Network. If you want to be a part of the program, of course, you can leave us a voicemail, 818-925-6631. The Patreon page will help, of course, our website continue to thrive and continue to grow. Thank you again to Vinkman for being our lone patron. He's an army of one. So thank you for your support, Vinkman. We really do appreciate it.
For your patronage.
We'll have some cool stuff. I think we're going to cook up exclusively for Vinkman. I have not also in regards to your winning stuff. We are working on getting all that stuff shipped. So if you are somebody that won our contest, we are going to get that stuff shipped hopefully in the next week or so. We're trying to hopefully avoid the holiday rush and things getting lost. I didn't want anybody to get things to get lost in the mail. So that's why we haven't sent those out, but those will be there. I haven't heard back from Ron yet, but I'm sure he is. You're in the queue to get your fun stuff. So Vinkman, I know you were one of the winners. The other was Chris as well. I don't think he's watching right now, but thanks again to both of y'all for your support back in October when we had the site go down. So all right, at Spideydude Radio on Twitter, at Spideydude Network on Facebook, Instagram, and of course our Patreon line. Thank you. Leave a comment. Share, give us a like and a share and subscribe. Don't forget the notification bell if you choose to do that on YouTube. Thanks again to our audio listeners. If you're listening to us on the audio version of the show, thank you again. Hopefully our references to visual aids didn't distract you too much, but of course you can always go on youtube.com and find out all these shows on those various platforms. Thanks again to my cohorts, Neil, Adam, and Paul. Thanks again, and we will see you next time here on the Spideydude Experience. Maybe.
Well, you tried.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure.
All right. Thanks again to everybody for listening. And we will see you guys next time here on the Spideydude Radio Network, Spideydude Experience. Thanks again, everybody.